Hello, this is Debbie, and this is Light Up Your Word. You are going to be so absolutely tickled pink for this week's guest, Kim Rogers. And she's a wellness professional with over 18 years of experience in Western medicine, dedicated to advancing medical knowledge and improving patient care. Her career includes authoring medical publications, contributing to national certification tests, and serving on medical advisory boards. After facing her own health challenges with endometriosis, Lyme disease, and mold poisoning, Kim sought holistic solutions, eventually founding RogersHood Apothecary in 2021. She created the viral ParaFy Parasite Cleanse Kit, which gained worldwide attention on TikTok and Instagram, earning her the title Worm Queen. Kim now empowers others to advocate for their health through her products and her personal healing journey. Welcome, Kim.
Thanks.
I love that. In fact, that's how I found you, was on Instagram. I watch your reels every day.
Oh,
They're
thanks.
so informative, really, about just watching them. And then I started following you in the community, and then I did a cleanse, and then I said, oh no, I need to be part of this. I signed up as an affiliate, and I absolutely love being part of this journey with you. So I'm super excited to have you here. Welcome.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm so glad you're a part of this journey too. And thank you for all of the support. It really means a lot to all of us.
Yeah, it's one of those things. When I started sharing with my friends about parasites, there's really just not enough, I guess, awareness and
Right.
knowledge about how much and how many of us have this. And so I thought I'd, tap into your wealth of knowledge on this, and, share some of the information that you know about how frequently this is happening to us, especially here in America.
Yeah. Well, Western medicine countries like America, Canada, Australia, they don't think this is really a thing. They think that because we're all first world countries, that only places like Mexico, Guatemala, and Latin America could even have anything like this. We couldn't. When in fact we do. And they roughly say around 90 to 95% of us have parasites and worms or worms. They're two different things. Parasites are microscopic and worms are physical. So you can have both, which is what I had. You can have just a parasite, you can have just physical worms, but it is a thing. And just so the viewers know, I actually caught Cryptosporidium parvium, pinworms, roundworm, and most of it came from our water. So our water is contaminated in Hoodsport, Washington, where we lived while building our log home. And that's how this whole thing kind of got started with Worm Queen and TikTok and Instagram. And you got to have a fun name because these things just are not like, it's not fun for people. People don't always want to talk about parasites and worms, but if you bring in an element where it's fun and they understand that this is a real life situation, I think that it makes it so much easier to digest.
Right? Like how would anybody even know to think about if they have, the parasites or the worms, and I know we're going to talk about mold, but how would you know? What type of symptoms do people have?
Well, starting with symptoms, you can have, IBS, grinding of the teeth is a big one, constantly wanting sugar, eating after 7 p.m., insomnia, rashes on your skin. Acne is a big one because your gut is your brain. It also dictates basically your overall health.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are a frequent salmon or sushi eater, or you like your meat really raw, or you eat a lot of pork, those are ways that you can catch parasites and worms. Or if you don't soak your produce, if you drink tap water, a lot of our tap water is contaminated, and not just drink it. Shower in it, bathe in it. If you don't filter your water, that's a really big one because
Mm-hmm.
you need to, that's your fundamentals is your water. So you kind of think about, okay, well, I was a big salmon eater. I ate a lot of sushi. I had liver flukes. Like my skin was a wreck, liver fluke. Each one of them has its own ailment. So you want
Mhm.
to like think, oh, well, if I'm having IBS, what in the past could I have eaten that has caused me to have IBS? And I think it's just breaking it down and understanding that fish and meat, they all have some form of a parasite in them if it's not raised correctly or close to the belly with fish. So, kind of thinking back, right? Like, oh,
Mhm.
I ate a lot of sushi. We lived in Nevada and sushi was like all you can eat.
Yeah. Yeah. I eat a lot of salmon.
Me too.
I
I
eat
love
a lot of salmon. It's one of my favorite foods. And I do a celery juice.
hmm
That's how I start out my day. Well, it was when I started using the products. First I do that, then I wait my a lot of time, and then I would do my celery, fresh celery juice and the cleaning process of the celery.
Yeah. What do you do with cleaning? I want to know how you soak your produce.
How I was soaking it is that well, at first I would cut it. Well, I now cut it and then I soak it in water and vinegar.
Okay. You should add in sea salt. I like Baja Gold. It's been tested so it doesn't have lead like Celtic sea salt has
Hmm.
some heavy metals in it. But you should do 2 tablespoons of sea salt, a half of a lime, and 2 cups of vinegar with distilled or filtered water. So
Okay.
that's the Rogers Hood soak.
Hmm.
And it helps keep it an alkaline base and it's not just vinegar. Vinegar and baking soda, a lot of people will do vinegar and baking soda. It actually just cancels each other out. It creates salt. So a lot of people will do it because of the effervescence that the vinegar and the baking soda create, thinking it cleans the produce more. It really
Hmm.
does. And
Oh,
then
okay.
I added another element because I have a little PTSD from all of this.
Yeah.
I use Thurasage's bubbler. It's an ozone machine,
Hmm.
and that actually will remove bacteria and pesticides. In addition, the soap by itself is sufficient, but I like to take it to another level. And then I took it to a whole nother level, and I do 11.5 pH sometimes through my Kangen
Hmm.
because that will also remove it. But my favorite device has been the Thurasage bubbler. It's great. It creates ozone water, which then really just keeps your produce lasting even longer.
Hmm.
Usually, I'll get between 7 to 10 days out of my produce, where before I would just get 5 to 7 days. And that's because all that bacteria that's been left on the produce just eats it away.
Yeah.
All that off, and it's yummy. The color comes back. It's got really great crunch like grapes.
Now, do you think that there's a difference between, regular and the organic with even celery or the produce as far as like with the number of stuff that could come with it?
I do. I think that you're going to have more bugs with organic. So you really want to be conscientious to soak a little longer
Mhm.
because they didn't spray the pesticides to keep the bugs off of the produce. And it doesn't seep in with organic. So those pesticides will absorb into your food. That's why everybody says go organic. But when you go organic, you have to be conscientious that there is going to be some sort of bug activity on your fruits and vegetables. So you want to make sure you soak it really good.
Okay. Yeah, that's, I think, really helpful, right? You have to be aware of all the pros and cons of everything
Yeah.
that we're doing.
And I think people just have not been educated. They have not had anybody really inform them on their food. And that food is a huge way of getting parasites. You know, people just don't realize what they're eating is going into their body and absorbing it. It's just like water. People don't realize that you absorb like 2 cups of water every 15 minutes, whether you're showering or you're bathing, and everything that's in that water, you're absorbing it. So if you don't start with fundamentals, then what's going to happen is you're just going to continually reinfect yourself. And that's what I was doing. So I did not realize it was my water. I was doing Paragard. That's what started it back in 2021. I did Paragard and I was getting rid of hundreds of worms, but I still was super sick as if I hadn't been getting rid of any of them. And I was soaking my produce. I was doing all the things, but I was soaking it in the worm water. So
Oh my gosh.
maybe it didn't have worms, but it did after I soaked it.
Yeah. So I'm thinking everybody who's listening, they're like, well, I have a filter on the water I'm drinking, but that doesn't help us if we're taking a bath or
You know,
shower.
you got to filter your shower water. There's a lot of filters that you can buy. I have some on my Amazon, or you can just type in 5 micron shower filters and they'll pop up. And then you just put that on your shower head. And we travel with ours because I don't know what other people's water looks like. I know what Seattle's water looks like and Hoodsport because I've tested both of them. And I do know around 75% of our country's water has parasites in it because I also work closely with the company that tests water for parasites.
Mm.
So it's a great place to start. Filter your water. And when I started this adventure, this journey, I used the shower head to fill up my bins of water because I already was filtering it. And then
Mhm.
I would brush my teeth with that water. So we didn't have a lot of space nor a lot of money. So that's how we ended up starting all the filter. And I've always been this way with my water because I've traveled a lot in my life and
Mhm.
chlorine, I would always get rashes. So I've always filtered my water, but now it's to a whole nother level because I know what's in the water.
Oh yeah. I would have see, I was thinking more about like the food I'm ingesting, less about the water.
Yeah.
Because I did buy a filter, a water filter. I think is it Berkey? I think is what
Mhm.
I have sitting there that I'm actually not using. It's sitting there and I haven't finished setting it up. So,
Yeah, you should finish. And then
yeah.
brush your teeth with that water. You should soak your produce with that water, shower, get a shower filter. That's kind of how this started. Even when I never drank my water. I never sat and gulped it down, but I would brush my teeth. I wear a retainer, a night guard because I had terrible teeth grinding. Now
Yeah.
I and I would soak my retainers in the contaminated water. So I was just recontaminating myself. And
Oh,
funny because I went viral in July of 2021. I did a 60-second video that talked about how I dewormed myself after working in the field since 2004. So I worked in the field, and this was a topic that we would only spend around 3 to 5 minutes on when I was a professor. And it wasn't something that we'd ever really dig into when I was building curriculum for colleges or writing anatomy and physiology books. It just wasn't something that was in the books that we really talked about. We don't have worms. And so I never really thought deeply on it, you know.
yeah. Well, then you start seeing all the stuff under the microscope
Yeah.
of what is. And um, I know that when I bought my kit, I bought the soak, and people are showing the videos
Hmm.
of what is coming out, any opening in your body.
Yep. Mine came out of my feet. I had them swim out of my feet, literally. And then they're on video and they're like doing loop-de-loos in the water
Yeah.
live. It was,
Yeah. I think the first time you see something come out of you and you look at it, I went running back to the website to figure out what it was.
hmm.
Like, what is this?
We
And
have
unlike
all
some
books.
people, I'm not going through my waist at
Yeah.
all because
You're
I
not a
don't,
digger.
no,
Me
I don't
either.
necessarily want to see it.
No judgment. I love diggers because they give me content and I get to add their pictures into the but I can't do it either.
I just can't, but sometimes, when you're just using, you're not having the waist, you're just tinkling, as my mom would say. And I'll look down and I'll see, especially if I take a video or something, I'll see stuff floating around, the really clear white things with like little zebras type of stripes. That's what I see the most often.
With stripes, you have like segments.
Yeah.
Okay, that could potentially be a tapeworm or a threadworm.
Oh,
Take a picture and send it. Normally, I can look at the picture and tell you right away what it is.
yeah.
I've seen thousands at this.
Yeah. I've been clenching my jaws
Oh,
for like 30 years. In fact, I had to go get braces because I was had clenched them for so long and it moved my teeth, right? And
mm-hmm.
so the doctors would always just say it's stress, right? Like,
No.
from the level of stress in my life. And I just kind of believed it. So when I heard that, I thought, wow. And then I remembered, well, if my dog is scooting around on their little behind and, dogs kiss us.
Yep. And you clean up after them and they're microscopic and they're on their paws and then they walk in your house and then you walk on what they walked on and then you put your feet up on the couch, put your hand there. I mean, there's so many scenarios that can happen when you have pets and pets, I would say 100% of pet owners have parasites.
Yeah. Yeah. And so now what would somebody expect if they're like, okay, I want to try this? What have you found is some of the most common things that people are, telling you? Because it wasn't that difficult to do the cleanse.
Right. It's so easy. I made it that way for a couple of reasons. One, because I want you to finish it. I want you to see what it feels like to actually reclaim your body.
Hmm.
It's a full body cleanse, whether it's just for parasites or heavy metals. It lightens your toxin load. So it just kind of helps you feel better about yourself
Hmm.
as well. So before I would say for me, anxiety is a big one, brain fog. I know when it's time for me to cleanse because I start to kind of feel bad about myself. My skin starts to break out. My anxiety is uncontrolled so that I don't have any way of like grabbing a hold of it and being like, you're good, you're fine. Like it just starts to kind of run. And so that's when I know it's time for me to cleanse. And I feel like the first few cleanses, people are just starting to like reacquaintance themselves with their bodies. But going back to what you had asked, sorry, I diverted.
Oh, you're okay.
It happens. I kind of weave around, but I come back.
Yeah. Well, I got brain fog, so I forget what the question is. So
By the end of the thing, we're like, okay, what was that? Mine isn't brain fog. Mine, well, maybe it is kind of brain fog. I'll say something and then I'll stop in the middle of what I'm saying. That's brain fog, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been actually diagnosed now with severe depression and anxiety.
Have you, okay, so I know we're going to talk about mold, but I think you should try a mold cleanse. I think you should try moldies. I think that when people do ParaFy a few times, they've depleted themselves a smidge. Their body went through a lot to get those environmental toxins that are really layered into your body because our cleanse does go into the blood, the tissue, and the muscle. It's full body, and they live in the blood, tissue, and muscle. And when you're unaliving them, they're also dropping spores. So if you've ever been in an environment that has had mold in it, regardless if it's like a long time or a short time, you breathe it in and then they hold on to those spores in their bodies. They all kind of live together. So moldies will help with just getting your brain fog kind of lightened and just having you feel a little bit better. And then when you pivot back over to ParaFy, you'll have a much better cleanse. You can also use Immune and Recover, which are in moldies. Those are two tinctures in moldies with
Mhm.
ParaFy. So it's like a 5 tincture cleanse instead of just the 3 tincture cleanse.
Okay.
And you're just wanting to support your organs and your body to the best of your ability. And when you're saying you clench, that just to me makes me think of mold. Your lymphatic system is depleted because you've had something in your body, environmental toxin wise, that is causing you to clench really hard down more than just stress. Our bodies should be able to have some stress in their life before it starts to say, what's going on, and this is your body's way of saying something is at the root that you got to figure out. That's why you're clenching. That's why your skin starts to break out. By the time it reaches the symptoms, the showing of the symptoms, you've had this for a minute. It isn't just started yesterday. You've got something deep rooted. And I think that that's something that Western medicine just doesn't teach people, is that your body is telling you by the symptoms something's wrong.
Mhm.
And when you can read those symptoms and read the ailments and understand them, you're going to have a much better time knowing what to do with your bodies. I really believe we've done a huge disservice to people by not giving them anatomy and physiology for real in high school. Like, there's two things in life. We should learn how to balance a checkbook and do our money and know our bodies. It's it's crazy because we all have the same type of body. We all have 206 bones. Like, this is our life, right? We should know how to take care of it in order to then help ourselves in the real world. And so it's like starting fresh with a cleanse, bam, done.
Oh yeah, and it's so relevant. I had earlier this year I bought a house, a 107-year-old house,
Ooh.
and I thought, I should probably go get that house tested for mold.
Did you?
No, I didn't. I just recently thought about it.
Gotmold.com. That's
Gotmold.com.
gotmold.com. Love them. They have a really great affiliate program as well.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool and easy to use their system. It's this little machine. It's like this big. It's like a cloth you put in it and they give it all to you. And then you set it outside so they can get a gauge of what outside spores look like. And then you bring it into your house, put a new one on there, and then for like 5 or 10 minutes, it collects the air. Then you send that little thing back to them, to their lab, and then they tell you what is in the air. And then you keep the little device that it goes on for when you want to do it again. And we do it every 6 to 8 months at our log home because we have a lot of mold. We live on the outskirts of a rainforest. That's how we got mold poisoning. We were living in a travel trailer while building our log home. We started that build in 2020, and we lived in the travel trailer with black mold, Aspergillus niger. And so we're very conscientious now because our building supplies did sit out in the rain. We've sprayed them so that they don't have mold that can grow on it. But like, you just never know. We had a leak. That leak didn't create mold, but it easily could have. And that's where we're all kind of in trouble with mold as well. Is all of these new buildings, they're sitting out and they're not using things like Boracare to stop mold. And so it's like, once you get mold in your body, it's very hard to get mold out of your body. And mold and parasites love each other. They like live harmoniously in your body, creating parties.
Oh no. Yeah, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'll be ordering that. And I wanted to touch on what is in this kit because it was so easy. I got these three tinctures
Mhm.
and I would take them. It was like a little shot, right?
Mhm.
Like two of them I took 3 times a day, and then there's three of them, and then I would take two of them 3 times a day. The other one I would take twice.
Right. And you can actually take Sustain 3 times a day with the other ones if you have a lot of die-offs.
Okay. And then it has these little pills, these little black pills. Now, I take a medicine at night. And so, you have to wait 2 hours with taking the medicine.
Right.
And so sometimes I would forget, right? And then I'd have to actually set an alarm so
Mhm.
that I could take it. But I wasn't actually sure about what that did either. I think it helps clear out the dead stuff. Is
Yes. So it's 3 tinctures: ParaFy, Sustain, and Meadow Flush.
okay.
ParaFy is your parasite cleanse. It has wormwood, black walnut hull, hawthorn berry, because hawthorn is, I see a lot of tapeworms, so I added an herb in that helps neutralize tapeworms. And clove, garlic. All of these are antiparasitics with additional support that you need while you're cleansing. And then Sustain has 3 herbs: peppermint, usnea, and Oregon graperoot. Usnea is foraged. I learned a lot about different types of herbs that grow out in the woods because I live in the woods as well. And usnea is one of them. It's Mother Nature's doxycycline. It helps pull out viruses and bacteria. And when you are deworming, you're actually dropping viruses, bacteria, spores. So you need a way to come in and sweep that up and clean it out while they're being dropped so that you're not then creating a whole nother realm of issues for yourself, which is what happened to me. While I was just doing straight Paragard, I created more candida. I actually had never tested positive for Epstein-Barr virus. I got Epstein-Barr virus, which means they were holding on to these viruses. So then I tested positive for them, and then I felt even worse. So I wanted to make sure I brought in some things that would help while you're cleansing. Metal Flush, because they can hold on to heavy metals. So Metal Flush is the third tincture, and it has cilantro, which is what we use for a heavy metal detox herb. Cilantro is amazing. It helps
Hmm.
pull heavy metals out, and they're also dropping those. So again, you're coming in and you're sweeping it all out. And it also has burdock root in it, so that helps with your liver, and dandelion root. Your liver's being taxed. It's one of the last organs that is part of your sewage system, which is your lymphatic.
Hmm.
And the binder, which is the black pills, that's called Cinnabon, and it's binding everything that's being dropped. So everything is being pulled right out. And I didn't know what binders were. We didn't really study charcoal and Ceylon cinnamon in Western medicine. We gave people charcoal when they overdosed and we were trying to pump their stomach. We pumped it with charcoal. Same concept though, just a microdose of it. So charcoal is negatively charged and these toxins are positively charged. So it acts like a magnet and it pulls them to them so that you don't have die-offs. And if you do, they're minimal. And then they come out your poop versus your skin, which is what happened to me, your nose, your eyes, your ears. They can crawl out because you've made your body inhospitable. But doing a regimen like this and a cleanse like this, you really are less likely to have such wild experiences when you're parasite cleansing.
Yeah. Well, I guess I better get better consistent.
But if you're taking it once in a while, it's okay. Like,
Hmm.
especially if you get bound up and you can't poop anymore, because charcoal will do that to you. Literally, it binds you.
Okay.
Well, it's okay to continue taking the cleanse even if you don't take Cinnabon. It's just best to take Cinnabon while you're doing a cleanse or any binder. I sometimes will rotate binders with Cellcore, and what's sad is that they put citric acid in their binder, so it's kind of a bummer because I avoid citric acid, but their binder is really a great binder too. So it's like, But ours is just Ceylon cinnamon and coconut activated charcoal, but some people can't take charcoal. So it's like you got to find a binder that's going to work best for you.
Hmm.
And ours is great. We're looking at doing another binder so that it can be taken anytime. And people that do have charcoal issues can take a binder from
Okay.
us. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know you guys provide a list, like
Mm.
a website list where you can go in and check your medicine
Yep.
against any of the herbs, which I think is really brilliant because, you could have that back in your mind fear of, is this going to interact with anything that I'm already taken?
Yeah.
So
Hello, pharmacist. That's who it is.
Mhm.
It's not our site, but because we can't give medical advice,
Yeah.
we have had the FDA come knock. So we really have to be probably even more careful. I've always made a funny comment that, oh, I can say and do whatever I want on my own website, but they don't. They don't like that. Like
Yeah.
I'm in full censorship right now. Honestly, I am heavily censored. There's things now that I used to be able to say and I can't say anymore, but it's just easier to be able to say the things.
Yeah. Now, how does like the parasites and whether it's parasites or molds or the worms, how is it involved with our mental health?
Oh man. I'm going to say that it is just a topic that I'm going to dedicate the next few months of really talking more and making more videos about it. When you have a frequency in your body that is a low vibration, which is they're alive, they have their own frequency, it really affects and brings yours down. And they don't want to die. They don't want to go away. They want their generation to continue. So they're going to do anything they can to keep themselves alive. They can control you. There's no way around it. They can come in and they can take over and hijack your body and live rent free. There is a cat parasite called toxoplasmosis. And they always tell pregnant women don't scoop cat litter while you're pregnant.
Hmm.
Really, everyone can get toxo. I didn't know everyone could get toxo at the beginning of all of this either. I thought, oh, just pregnant women. But in reality, it's between 50 and 60% of our population in Western medicine. I think it's like 40 million people in Western medicine have toxoplasmosis. And to give you an idea of how it can control you, a mouse is the mouse has toxo and
Hmm.
it cuddles up to the cat. Well, it's because it took away the fear. The mouse no longer has fear of the cat. And Toxo did that in order for the cat to eat the mouse to reproduce Toxo inside the cat's gut. That's the next stage of Toxo. So we all know mice and cats don't like each other, but in this case, there's no problem. And then the cat goes poop and you scoop the poop and bam. Now you can get Toxo because the cat that you scooped the poop has Toxo and it can control you. They did studies that people that rode on crotch rockets and were sexually promiscuous actually had toxoplasmosis because it lowers the inhibition of fear.
Oh, wow.
Really can control your mind. Same with
Wow.
candida. You're eating a lot of sugar. Candida is making you eat that sugar.
Yeah.
It's controlling who you are in order for it to get fed and stay alive.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so if you've ever had a rodent problem,
Yeah. If you've ever seen your mouse cuddle up to a mouse cuddle up to a cat, Toxo. And you can watch videos now that you can actually go in and watch cats cuddling with a mouse, and you're like, the mouse has Toxo, 100%. There's no way around denying it.
oh, wow, that's fascinating. Now I'm gonna go find those videos because
I will go look for one today too, and I'll send it. I'll do a video on it and be like, this mouse has toxoplasmosis.
yes.
It's kind of a crazy thing because we should know these. We should know that environmental toxins are a real thing because we're also animals that live on Earth, and this is natural. The parasites are doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're decomposers. So there's something in your body that they're decomposing, and that's why they want to live with you and live on you. A parasite is just something that lives off the host. That's all it is. It's
Oh
eating
my
your nutrients. It can take up to 90% of your nutrients. And that's why most of us that are chronically ill that have parasites, our hair falls out. We can't gain weight. We can't lose weight. I could not lose weight to save my life. I
Mhm.
could sit and starve myself for 6 months and not lose a pound. And it's because they're doing everything. They're absorbing anything that I was eating. That's how they're surviving. They have what they call a biofilm or mucus, and that's why in metal flush we have an herb called lungwort lichen, and it breaks that biofilm down, exposing them. And when you expose them, they start to kind of come out of their shells because they can burrow deep into muscle and tissue and your cells. And when you remove that coating of theirs, they'll come out, and then that's when the herbs come in and gone.
Wow.
When people think of it that way and they think about how you're exposing them, and when they're on their way out and they're afraid, they're dropping more eggs. And that's why we brought in black walnut hull. That's why you bring in that herb, because it actually helps rid eggs so that you're not having another generation start to build back into your body. And we say to cleanse over the full moon. I actually say 3 days before the full moon because that's when they start to dislodge themselves from your body,
Mhm.
creating communities inside of your body. And so you can cleanse anytime, but we always say if you want the most effective cleanse, you should start 3 days prior to the full moon and make sure you're going over the full moon. In other countries like France, so this is a French folklore that it's 3 days prior because they eat snails. And the snails, which are a freshwater parasite inside of them called schistomiacin, and schistomiacin is really prevalent over in France because of the snail population that they eat.
Mhm.
So, it's like all people don't really realize how much food and what we're ingesting is what is causing a lot of our issues.
Yeah. Well, and I think we've been having a lot of environmental things really start coming to light, like
Yeah.
a lot more with the thing I saw like on Fruit Loops, right? With in US versus other countries where
Mhm.
they just don't even allow them to put in all the ingredients. And I think the interest is really similar to really wanting to understand. And I've been recently learning more about the whole gut brain health, about how they used to think it was the brain always talking to the gut, and now they realize it's what 70 or 80% of it is the gut talking to the brain. It's opposite of what they thought. So this would make sense if you have these things inside of you and if you've had them for a really long time. I'm 58 And I've
Hmm.
been clenching my teeth for 30 years.
Yep, because we've never cleansed.
Mhm.
Our environmental toxin, our bodies are overloaded. We do not have the capability anymore of pushing and making our bodies inhospitable naturally. That's why you have to bring in cleansing in order to make your body inhospitable, and then they don't want to live in you. So if you did sit down and actually eat one and your body's clean, it's just going to kind of come out. It's not going to take hold and make you chronically ill.
Mhm.
And I feel like people are having a better understanding. And I love the fact because 3 years ago when I went viral, I always said, your gut is your brain. It is not your brain. Like your brain is not your number one. Your gut is. It's
Mhm.
dictating your emotions. It's dictating what you should eat. It's dictating how you should feel. And I had small intestinal parasites, and I know when it's time for me to cleanse because I don't feel worthy. And I know I'm a good person. I know that everything I'm doing and in my mind and how I feel is I'm a worthy person.
Mhm.
So all of a sudden, if I'm feeling not worthy anymore, that's not me. That's something outside of me that's telling me you're not worthy. Well, I don't want to, they don't want to go away. So of course they're going to keep me feeling low and sad and not motivated because the more you move, the more they don't take hold. Like, the more you keep your lymphatic system going, doing the 3 Ps, peeing, pooping, and perspiring, doing saunas, doing red light, castor oil, the more they don't want to stay in you.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, so if and as we're cleaning this with all the attention on our gut, how does like probiotics fall into this? Prebiotics, probiotics, do you need to do this as
yeah,
part of the routine as well?
you should. You should do a pro or prebiotic. It's keeping the gut lining smooth and it's keeping anything in there that could be potentially bad. It's kind of like helping remove that as well.
Mhm.
So it's a whole system. And people that have issues like H. pylori or diverticulitis, there's like divots inside of the smooth muscle
Mhm.
that is your gut. And so they can hide in there, they take a hold in there, and then they're undetectable. They're very smart. They're smarter than us. They've been around longer than us. And other countries are aware of it. Like Mexico, they do a cleanse. They do synthetic pills. Normally, you can go to their pharmacy for like $7 and get a cleanse, basically. I call them a cleanse, but it's just anti-parasitic medications. You
Okay.
should really do a pre and pro. I like to do something like coconut cult, which is a probiotic, and then I followed up with blueberries about 30 minutes later, which is a prebiotic. So I like to eat my pre and probiotic, but
Mhm.
if I'm like on the move, traveling, I'll just take, there's a couple different ones. There's ones that need to be refrigerated. I like Mary Ruth's. They're very simple, easy to use, effective, but it's really important to continue to keep supporting your actual gut while you're doing these. Paragard for me stripped my gut and that created more candida, more issues, and that's kind of what made me get into this a little bit more with my own kit.
Yeah. Well, that's super powerful to understand that because I'm just adding these into my diet as I'm starting to be my own advocate as well to get better. And that's how I kind of stumbled upon this too myself because, I have so many of the symptoms that you're mentioning. So when you go to do your first cleanse, then you go through yours is a 30-day,
Mhm.
and then should you wait a certain amount of time and then start the next one if you're still in that process of trying to first clear it all up?
Well, it's just a good practice to do this 3 to 4 times a year. Like
Mhm.
something that we just never really thought about because we've always thought, oh, the body can do this naturally.
Mhm.
No, it can't. Not when you're eating food, like we talked, with
Yeah.
tons of toxins in it. Like, why do we have 51 ingredients in something that's like, should just have salt in it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
right?
your body's got to process that. Your organs have to
Mhm.
go in and figure out a way to process something that's foreign. So starting with that, cleaning that up 3 to 4 times a year or with symptoms. So if you're in the middle of a cleanse and you're like 28th day and you're still feeling yucky, you should continue. We give you a lot of product, around 40 to 45 days worth of product. You can keep going or you can take a break at the 30 days, wait 7 days, and start another kit again. So you can do back to backs. You can do back to backs for as long as you need. Just give yourself 7 days in between. And then we also have another kit. It's the support kit, and
Mhm.
it has Sustain, which is my favorite tincture, and Immune and Recover. And so it just helps keep you inhospitable while you're going between cleanses every 3 months. So seasonally is what I usually recommend when you're starting out doing this.
Mhm. Oh, super powerful. Yeah, I'll be starting another one.
How do you feel around like the second weekend? How does your mental health? Because honestly, that is what made me start it. I was watching a video a couple of months before I did my first cleanse, and the girl said she almost herself over worms. And I was like, what do you mean you almost yourself? Okay, so I started digging into the thoughts of, well, maybe my anxiety isn't really me having anxiety.
Uh-huh.
Maybe my sadness isn't me having that sadness. Like physically, what is causing me to feel that way? And within 3 days of me doing my first cleanse, I knew that it wasn't me. I had endometriosis pains and I can't have any more surgeries. I've had 13 surgeries and a hysterectomy. I don't have kids. And I couldn't have any more surgeries because it's just creating more scar tissue inside of my body. And I was like, wait, so my body's physically all janked up. My mental health is all janked up. What do I got to lose at this point? Like
Mm.
maybe wormwood and black walnut hull and garlic and clove might just help me. Like I've tried all of the synthetics, I've tried all of the surgeries. Why not try this? And that's kind of where I was at. And it really was my skin and my mental health that really pushed me to get to this point.
Yeah, I've been diagnosed with severe depression and anxiety. Now, I'm
Hmm.
not saying at 58 I've never been down before. I've had some pretty challenging, just like all of us,
Hmm.
experiences in life by the time you get to this age. But the amount of impact on my cognitive functions was so extreme that my career that I had for 20 years, I could no longer do it. Which, the analytical, the complex problem solving, I would just stare out into space, really, and
Hmm.
try to work and focus. And so I did start to see a difference in it, where I'll have moments of clarity. I mean, it's still there,
Yeah.
but I think it's because I need to keep
Yeah.
doing it,
Yeah. Keep
you know?
doing it. Add some red light into your daily life.
Hmm.
Sit in front of the red light for 20, 30 minutes. Just get yourself really like castor oil and sauna and movement vibrations plates. We call it biohacking stacking. Just stack them. Like get the I'll do castor oil, sit in front of the red light and lift some weights, while I've taken my cleanse. Just keep it going. The more your lymphatic goes stagnant, the more you start to not feel yourself as well. Your lymphatic system is your sewer of your body and it doesn't have a sphincter. So there's no way for it to pump out the sewer. You have to do it.
Oh,
You have to manually pump out the sewer of your body.
yeah.
Wash off, dry brushing, sweating, going in front of a red light, absorbing all of those
Mhm.
nutrients and in the sun. There's so many things you can do while you're doing the parasite cleanse just to help boost your system and feel better. But we're all very typical Americans. This is pretty typical for all of us. We have relied on other people to help our bodies figure out what's wrong. And at the end of the day, you're responsible for you. That person your doctor, they have 5 or 10 minutes. And then after that, they've moved on, in life. You have to figure out what's going on with you. And that's where that patient advocacy comes in for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I do have a little at home spa that you sit in. It's really little. It looks like a toaster. They told me when I my boyfriend took a picture of me in it, and they're like, "You look like you're in a little toaster,"
Totally. They're
you
so
know.
fun though.
And I have a fascia blaster.
Okay. Oh, I love through Ashley.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I
I
love her.
love Ashley's.
I love the fascia blaster. It really does help move trauma that's sitting underneath your skin, the layers that you can get down with the fascia blaster. I love
Mhm.
that. I think though, just like a basic vibration plate has been the best for me. When I feel the aches and pains, I'll get on that thing for 10 minutes and I'll just stand there and it'll just shake me and get me moving. Like I feel so much better after I do it. And it's literally 10 minutes. And it's, I don't know, you can get one for like 60, $70 on Amazon.
Yeah,
And
like you could have been doing it right now, right?
totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll do, I'll work
Uh,
all night.
Well, these are just so many useful tips, right, of how other ways to be able to do this, including myself, because I'm still in this process, you
Yeah. It's
know?
new. This is new to people.
Hmm.
Again, we should have been introduced to this. Like you can learn all the things that are kind of useless when you're in high school and college, but this is something that you can bring into your life every day.
Hmm. Yeah. And I like that there's multi pathways, I guess is the right word,
Mhm.
to be able to get it, taking a look at our water,
Mhm.
how we're showering, taking a look at, getting a filter there, how we clean our vegetables. Can we use that too if we're eating? Like I've currently given up red meat and
Okay.
I'm eating like chicken and fish a lot.
Uh-huh.
And so can you clean them just
Mhm.
like you do the
Yep.
same type of solutions? Okay.
In fact, you could just the Therasage machine is $100. Therasage is great. I love them. I've loved them for years. Robbie is the owner, and his daughter had Lyme and died of Lyme. So a lot of and I have Lyme, a lot of their products are based on that part of their life. And you can create ozone water and throw in your chicken to clean it. So it has multi uses. I actually also make ozone water and I put it in a water pick and I use that because Epstein-Barr virus and Lyme can live in your mouth. And
Uh-huh.
so if you're able to kill that bacteria that's in your mouth, then you're able to kind of heal from here first, because this really is your gateway to the rest of your body. So if you're having issues with your mouth, you're having other issues other places. Look
Hmm.
at your reflexology. It'll show you the different parts of your tongue, tell you indications of your organ. Your body is meant to heal itself. That's the whole purpose of this. And if it's not able to do so, it's going to tell you.
Yeah. So then I have another out of the blue question
Yeah.
that maybe I should have asked earlier, but so I had my gallbladder out like in my
Okay.
mid 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, this is in the mid 90s, was that it was just so common, right? Your gallbladder gets full and it was abnormal, right? It was supposed to be I wasn't overweight at all. In fact, I was very thin back then. And when they took it out, they act like, oh, nothing, doesn't impact anything. Of course, I've learned since then over the last few years that it's just overtaxed the liver.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had mentioned liver flukes.
Right.
What is a liver fluke?
Well, liver flukes don't have to do with your gallbladder, but if you have a gallbladder that's been removed, you should take an enzyme. I like a company called Now, and it's called Super Enzyme. You can get it on Amazon.
Mm.
So you should take that every time you eat because your body isn't able to break down the food. Then it taxes your liver because, again, your liver is like the last spot for your sewage. And so it's not able to break it down in order for your liver to process it, making your liver overwork, then causing possible fatty liver. But if
Mm.
you take an enzyme to help your body break down the food because the acid's not doing its job when it makes it through with no more having a gallbladder, the enzyme's going to help break it down and make it easier through your liver. Now, liver flukes go in and out of your liver, causing possible adhesions in your liver, holes in your liver, and again, taxing your liver. And they live in your liver. They have blood flukes as well, but liver flukes are the most common. And you usually get those from salmon and fish, sushi, like seafood type of, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
And the thing that cracks me up about all of this and makes it so much even stranger, I live in Seattle. I live across the street from Pike Market, which is
Oh.
the famous fish throwing, and I've interviewed them. I went in
Mm-hmm.
and I spoke with them, and they looked at me like, "You're crazy. Of course there's worms in fish." And I said, okay, well, people just don't know that there's parasites in fish. And they were like, well, most all fish has parasites, and closer to the belly part of the cut of the fish has the most parasites in it.
So do you go and ask for the cut away? I want my piece farthest away
Yeah.
from the belly when you're at Mike's.
Where'd the cut come from?
Yeah.
Like, what are you
Right?
talking about?
Oh my goodness. Well, the other thing I've been doing too, and we haven't mentioned, is I eat pumpkin seeds now.
Yeah, because that's an anti-parasitic. It'll help. It helps like paralyze them, and then you bring in the herbs and it removes them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they put pumpkin seeds on things like salads. And because most people know that food is actually medicine. So you can bring that in and then it goes into the stomach, right? And then it keeps it from them taking hold because they're like, oh, wait, antiparasitics, they don't want to hang out on you anymore. And then they leave. But it's not a main cleanse. It's something that you can add to things that like salads,
Mm-hmm.
produce. If you add antiparasitic foods onto it, it can help from keeping them to absorb and take hold on your body.
Oh, I just eat a few of them, in the afternoon,
Good.
just as a little snack. I think they actually taste really good.
Do you eat ones that are sprouted
Yeah,
organic?
they're sprouted raw,
Yeah, they're good.
like
Are they
from
in the
Costco.
green bag? Oh yeah, those are
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah, in the green bag. Yeah,
Yeah, those are so good. They're so good.
they are. They're delicious. I mean, I actually have a little bowl here that I'll put them in, and I don't have any right now because it's not afternoon, but yeah, that's what I snack on because I like to snack in the afternoon a little bit. And so it's just a nice way to, grab it. So what haven't we covered that you think the audience should be aware of?
I just think that knowing your body and how it all works is going to just keep you being a better patient advocate. I think that, watching my account, going and reading things that are on our website, because I do give you my knowledge for free, and you can use that knowledge for any parasite cleanse, whether it's ParaFy or not. I just want people to be educated. At the end of the day, you have to live with you, and your head goes on your pillow, and you want to make sure you did your best job throughout the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I do appreciate it. I am frequently on your website.
RogersHood.com is my website. You should go look at it. It's got resources. We change the colors because it's easier on the eyes.
Mm.
We have a lot of recommendations on there now. We spent the last year working on it. The day that it was supposed to be done, the FDA sent us a message and said we needed to be compliant. So it was crazy because we were already working on the new website that was compliant. So it was kind of nice. It just switched over and we just sent them the new website. We're like, all right, let us know.
Yeah, I'll have to go. I haven't been on there in the last 2 weeks or so. So yeah, it's probably right when you guys did the switch
Oh,
over. So yeah.
we're going to celebrate it. But then the FDA came and we were
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, we just have to like switch it and just we're going to celebrate it this weekend because it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's like a grand opening. We never had such a beautiful website before. We've had the same one for 3 years. Erica, my business partner, so I own half of RogersHood. She owns the other half, and she runs all of production because we manufacture our own products
Hmm.
and we do everything ourselves. There isn't anything that RogersHood has had to go and ask anyone else for. We do it all. So,
And I really like that when you place an order, that it's
mhm,
being made fresh. You're not
yep.
getting something that's been in somebody's, shelf for a year or,
Yeah. We
you know.
can't even keep it on the shelves. So even if we wanted to stock, we really couldn't yet. I mean, we are so busy. It's kind of crazy. And I'm hoping that with the way that people are waking up to needing to know their health, that it just continues. And it's not in lieu of medical advice. It's just something that you should just really do. Like we should be doing this 3 to 4 times a year. Mexico, in some places, it's mandatory for you to take an antiparasitic twice a year. Some things like going into school, we do different ways for people to get into school. They make sure that you do an antiparasitic because they can be given to other people. Pinworms. Pinworms are huge and eat their lice of the butt. You literally can give them to each other. So you got to be conscientious.
Yeah. Well, it's just all great. So everybody can go over to the new website, and which when we air this won't be as new, but it still be newer than the last 3 years. So now I want to switch gears into I like to ask all my guests these two questions. The first one is that I really believe in the power of music. It can really shift your mood. It can lift you up. And I'm curious to know, Kim, is what's that song, especially if you're from the Seattle area, but what is that for you? What's a song that is something that you would put on, like your go-to song?
Well, right now it's my best friend Sam Bruno, and she did a song called Search Party, and it just makes you feel like you're your tribe. And I feel like that's something that is really important when you're doing this community and tribe and
Mm-hmm,
knowing that everyone's got your back. And so that's what I feel when I listen to her music. But I do like frequencies. I do a lot of frequency music
mm-hmm,
where it actually is going in and subconsciously helping you while bringing your frequency up and your vibration up. It's
mm-hmm,
it's kind of one of the things that over the last few years that I've introduced daily. I do it every day. I listen at night when I go to bed to kind of rewire my subconscious.
mm-hmm.
As far as like straight music, I like Nirvana, Beastie Boys. I don't know, I've been listening to them, a little punk rock kid, hippie kid.
Yeah. You're right to party.
Oh my God, right? No sleep till Brooklyn.
Oh, I remember when that song came out, actually. Too powerful. So the second question that I always like to ask as well is that, in this season of your life, if you could go back and talk to your younger self about your worth, what would you tell her?
You got this. And I do think there's times that I have done that. I actually know that I've done it. I know that I've told myself, just keep going. Like literally, just keep going. Like whatever's happening right now is going to pass and you get another chance tomorrow
Mm-hmm.
and a chance every day. So do your best for today and try again tomorrow because you do get another chance.
Yeah. Oh, that's great advice. Now, Kim, how can people reach you?
Mrs. Rogers Hood is on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. And then Mrs. Rogers dot Hood is Insta because someone has Mrs. Rogers Hood. I feel for her. I can only imagine what her DMs look like because I
Yeah.
know what they look like. You can find us on RogersHood.com and Rogers Hood across all platforms as well.
Hmm. Yeah. And I'm going to mention there too that I'll have all of that in the show notes. I'll also have my affiliate link where you get 10% off, you know, where it doesn't cost you anything. You get to save money. And then we know that you actually heard about it through the Light Up Your Worth podcast. So I'm so appreciative of you being here, Kim. It's been such an honor to learn more. And I've just learned so much more today to really help my own health. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me.